This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. And today we are coming to you from ASTE 2022, Tropical Storm Ian edition. And I'm here with Kim. And also our guest today is Justin Allen, who is a business consultant with Hunter Engineering Company.
What an honor.
Justin prefers to be called nice guy at large. And if you know him, you know that's the perfect description.
That's true.
Thank you.
The reason that we have Justin on today is because if you know Justin, if you follow Justin, if you're in the automotive industry and you have the opportunity to play around on TikTok or on Instagram or even on Facebook, you've probably seen one of his videos. He has really just adopted video, into his day-to-day life and does such an amazing job with it that we wanted to have him on. But before we get into that, I want to thank our sponsor. So thank you to our friends at RepairPal for this episode. RepairPal will introduce your shop to new customers through RepairPal.com, the largest site for auto repair. Learn more at RepairPal.com/shops. Well, hey, Justin.
This is where the song and dance starts.
Are you really in the automotive industry? If you don't know Justin,
That is so flattering.
We should tell the story how we got to know him, though. Last year, right here at ASTE, Brian and I were recording the ASOG podcast. Justin just shared with us this story that he was walking in to the building and pulled up Facebook, saw that David Roman was live and clicked to watch, and happened to be when you clicked in, we were talking about you.
Amazing.
So
the first story you bring up on the podcast is about me crying in public at a hotel. I appreciate that.
You are the one that just said crying.
I'm telling you. No, that was a real gift. It was a real gift for me to be encouraged by the kind things you guys are doing, obviously, with the way you market not only yourselves, but the businesses you work with. Yeah. Walking in and hearing you guys on the podcast and hearing nice things say it, that was a neat moment. No question.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. And so here we are a year later. I get to watch the magic that you guys are creating online, both through your podcast and the way you post the stuff on your social media. And I've been fortunate enough to get to know other shop owners that you guys work with as clients as well, to see the great things out there. Eduardo Trevino, I will tell you, I did not know this, but I went to him and I complimented all of his marketing. I said, man, it's looking great. I don't know what you're doing online. And he said, yeah, I'm paying a company to do that. But I didn't know it was you guys. So it was that's a blind compliment to you, right? Mm-hmm. That your stuff out in the wild is very attractive.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, we love him.
So we want to talk about short form video today.
Okay.
You've just really adopted this. Tell us a little bit about why have you invested so heavily in doing this short form video?
The very, very real specific of it in my own life is just the nature of the busyness of who I am and what I'm doing and where I'm trying to be. My wife and I have 6 children. We've got 3 boys and 3 girls, and I've been with Hunter for 12 years. I can never be in all the places at once as much as I want to be. And I had to think about how can I expand my presence and develop relationships with people that I can't see face to face. When you watch the trends of what is the next thing that gets more attention. My tagline for who I really am is that I love humans and the human experience. And one thing I know humans really love is other human faces. If there's something we're going to be drawn to. So specifically in my business, if I show a picture of a tire changer, nobody's paying attention to that. If I show a tire changer that has a really excited owner standing next to it, that gets a lot more attention. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I show a video of an owner changing a tire on that tire changer, being excited, and we're talking about it, it's just that next level, right? Yeah. And so all of the technology, all of the social media platforms have driven us all towards that, so much so that currently on Instagram and Facebook, you don't see stories as a default. It all goes to the Reels. Mm-hmm. The Reels is the thing they've been trying to push to, of course, compete with TikTok. Mm-hmm. So good luck to Instagram and Facebook on that, right? Because TikTok has dominated the concept of the video. It's just more real life, right? It's like 3D stuff. When we've talked about canned marketing, the spontaneous in the moment video presentation, there's nothing canned about that. It's the organic nature of Justin, maybe exhausted, maybe a little bit harried in a day, stumbling through, stuttering through, whatever. People seem to respond to that. Yeah. As opposed to like a scripted something or other. And so it's just grown naturally out of that. I mean, trying to be something online in a video that looks all polished and glamorous, I can't live up to that expectation in real life. It's just proven to be great to just try to be myself and put it out there and let it do what it's going to do.
when I see you online and then I see you in person, there's no gap. It's the same.
Thank you.
It's the same guy. And that's what's attractive to people. And shop owners, they're so afraid, so many of them, to step out of their comfort zone and pull out that camera and do the thing because a lot of them feel like they have to be something they're not.
Yep.
And we tell them all the time, just be yourself.
Absolutely.
And it also doesn't have to be you, the shop owner. There is a character in your shop. Find that person. They probably naturally lean to being able to do that. So I'm sure that it will inspire people because they get so wrapped up in thinking they have to be something they're not.
Well, and I think it's easy to forget that we're all just average. We're all just responding to the same things. So if you find yourself constantly flipping past static images of whatever and slowing down and you see a video, why would you think anybody is doing any different? So the value of doing a video, even just from what you keep finding yourself doing, if you're staring at TikTok all the time in your spare moments, you're just average. It's okay. Right? Yep. So embrace what you think you find creative, because that's going to make it more entertaining for you anyway.
Right.
So those are probably the ways.
So I preach to shop owners all the time about using short form video like this and doing those in the moment videos, but I'm terrible at it myself. I have to force myself, and I will often be, I will think about what is it that I'm going to say, and I'll really put a lot of thought into that. But when I watch your videos, I feel like I'm just being led into a moment that's naturally occurring in your life. Like nothing has been scripted or really thought about, beforehand. It's just a great experience for the person who's watching it. So, before you do a video, what kind of preparation do you think about? What is it that I'm going to talk about, or are you just completely off the cuff?
Within an outside sales job, I've got plenty of time driving around, just windshield time thinking about things. And a thought will occur to me about something I find interesting. I'll be listening to one of the fantastic podcasts that I like to listen to, like Remarkable Results Radio Podcast, for instance. And I'll hear Carm talking to some shop owner about some pain point. And I'll think of some way that that's relatable to my clientele at the time or whatever, somebody specifically I could talk to. I'll usually voice to text on my calendar as soon as it's safe, whatever I'm doing, to say video about struggling with low profile tires or whatever. That way I can at least put it on my calendar. I might get to it in 3 days, but then I'll have some time to process a little bit. Okay, what are 2 or 3 quick points I can make? Because frankly, I'm not going to remember more than 2 or 3 if I'm going to try to shoot a video. I'm lucky to get through whatever I think of. So there's a little bit of thought put into it. The beauty, again, of being able to be outside is that oftentimes I can get to a place where that concept is absolutely relevant based on what I'm standing in front of in this moment or whatever. So I try to do that, but there's no scripted or anything, certainly. I just think to myself, what are 2 or 3 key points I'm trying to get out there? And can I get it done in under 1 minute? I mean, attention span situation. And when we look at the details about people watching our videos, you always see like you've got an average of 11 seconds or whatever it was when you shot this 3-minute video. So I'm always trying to find messages that I can pare down and make them as brief as possible.
So, when it comes to video, social media, all of that, what is true today is not always true tomorrow.
Boy, that's right.
So you started doing this about how long ago?
The marketing on social media started maybe 8 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago, but it was terrible. Like I'm embarrassed to look back at the early stuff I did, but it's just like everything else we talk about. If you're going to be an expert at that 10,000 hour mark, then I was at the mark, the 15 hour mark way back then. And so, but it builds and it evolves and you have to stay ahead of it a little bit. 4 years ago, got aggressive with it about how can I be serious to, like I said before, kind of expand my presence.
I love talking about sponsors of the podcast who have already worked with and who I've used before. So today, I'm super excited to talk to you about RepairPal, which, if you didn't know, will introduce your shop to new customers through RepairPal.com, the largest site for auto repair, and through the recommendation of their partners like USAA, CarMax, and Consumer Reports. Our shop was in a RepairPal certified network, and it was great for getting new customers who were looking for more than just oil changes. The average RepairPal customer spends over $600 on their first visit. I loved it, especially because we all know that consumers still mistrust repair shops. But the millions of customers that visit RepairPal.com monthly, they trust RepairPal certified shops for their high quality and great service. And there's no fear about being overcharged, so we were able to just focus on the repair. I highly recommend you check them out. It's the way to grow your business. Go to RepairPal.com/shops, get 1 month of service free, and save $150 off certification. So what kind of changes have you seen in that time?
The big one for me is a year ago. TikTok was coming on strong, and it was before that they were coming on strong. But for so long, we had all insisted on recording video in horizontal orientation because widescreen TVs, if you're going to shoot a video and share it with your family, that's where it's going to look good, right?
Yep.
So you'd see soccer moms at a soccer game with it vertical, and I'd be like, lady, turn it this way. It'll be better. As obnoxious as I could be to tell anybody. But say it's a friend of mine. I wouldn't talk to some stranger, but it's a friend of mine. Then TikTok totally flipped that. Totally flipped that. Yeah, literally, right? Went from horizontal to vertical. And I think that's the biggest change that's happened, where now if you've got horizontally oriented video on TikTok, it looks terrible. You do not look like you're paying attention to what's actually happening there. It's YouTube. And so that's the challenge. We've got YouTube where that's exactly what you want is a horizontally oriented, right?
Yeah.
But that's been a big change that I know I've had to reshape it to make it work for.
Yesterday, while we were here, you were recording a video of me for TikTok,
right?
To show people how to sign up for the app here at ASTE.
Yep.
And one of the things that you were saying is that you wanted to keep movement going on. So you were kind of moving the camera around,
right? And
you were saying that TikTok likes that.
Absolutely.
So what kind of things have you found that the different platforms, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and I don't know if you do any YouTube shorts or not. What are the things that you have found, the algorithms like?
Oh gosh, when it comes to the algorithm, it's fascinating, right? Because you like to think one time that it's the hashtags and then the other time it's the whatever. The thing that I think I've really found is it's doggone music, which is challenging when you're talking in your videos a little bit because it's hard to talk over Van Halen,
right.
Singing Panama, like David Lee Roth. He's like powerful. How am I going to talk over that? So that's the challenge, is finding instrumental stuff that's getting enough traction. And then those are only 15 seconds long. The really viral, trendy ones are super duper short, what they're available, because that's what we're doing with our attention span. We're all getting shorter. But the music seems to be the biggest factor.
Are you spending time digging into the statistics in the background to see which ones are performing better, or who are you following to stay fresh and updated on new trends? And
when it comes down to where my camera angles come from, my doggone teenage daughters, man. Everything I learned about Instagram photography came from my teenage daughters, and just watching the things they were doing, how they were doing, and how this angle was more attractive, and how you can look more like this if you do this, which is, by the way, probably toxic for all of us, all of humanity. It's terrible, but it helped with that. So beyond that, as far as research, you have to watch enough of any of it to see it's back to averages. Whatever gets my attention, I'm comfortable doing it. So if Young Gravy's got some new hit out there that everybody's using this Young Gravy song, then I'm going to probably find a way to incorporate that if I can, and
it'll tell you what's popular in there when you're looking at that stuff.
Right.
So taking advice from your teenage daughters, what do they say about
They make fun of everything I do.
Yeah.
They think I'm ridiculous. Yep. They hate it.
But that's what they're supposed to do.
That's what they're supposed to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're probably at school like, hey, look what my dad's doing. This is so crazy.
I wish. Wouldn't that be nice if they would show anybody? But no. That's just like we did. We were teenagers too once. We were not bragging on our parents.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't think
so you've been doing this, heavily for 4 years now.
Right.
How has that impacted your sales efforts?
Let me tell you, listeners, the first thing you sell every day is you, your personality, your whatever. My role is facilitated by those videos more than just about anything. I have people who are getting to know me before I ever walk in the door, and they are determining whether or not they think I'm okay before I ever walk in the door. And when I think about it, like auto shop owners, holy cow, you've got customers that you can make fall hypothetically in love with you before they ever step foot in your door by showing them your expertise, by showing them your personality, by showing them how approachable you are, by showing them that you care and you know what you're talking about. It does amazing thing for my business. And I can't, if I had customers already walking in my door that I could help educate them that way, I want to teach anybody and everybody how to do it, because it will revolutionize your business. I'm confident of it. I mean, I believe it proves it to me every single day.
Do you have shop owners that you walk into their shop and they say, show me how you do that?
I have shop owners that I walk in and they say, would you please do that for me? If you've watched any of my videos lately, I did one a couple of days ago about shop owners being introverts in general. And that's my big obstacle because I want to encourage them and help them do their things. And so the video thing, introvert, extrovert, whatever. Difference between you and people that seem confident on videos that they've done it longer because nobody wants to hear their own voice. Everybody thinks they look ridiculous, but that's okay. That is part of you being natural and normal and relatable.
Once you get started, you start getting comfortable with it. It gets easier.
Sure.
Gets better.
I think probably most of us too, like the first experience we had with hearing our voice and be like, it was like, voicemail recorder or whatever, like the earlier tape recorders and you'd hear that's just a weird thing. But whatever you think is weird about your voice, this is the way you think about it. Everybody in your life that you already know and love, they hear that voice all the time and they think you're okay.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So why are you letting yourself get freaked out about sounding kind of funny?
I've never thought about that. People, if someone heard our voice the way that we hear it, they would be like, who is that?
They absolutely would. Why are you so strange sounding today? Right? So it's funny. Like we judge ourselves like it's some problem and yet
like it's new.
You talked Kim into marrying you. Somehow you hoodooed her in this whole situation.
The truth is she might have talked me into it.
Here we go.
Sure.
That is not what this conversation is
That's a really
about.
humble way to approach that.
But his voice actually is one of the first things that attracted me to him.
Look at that. Didn't you say you don't like your voice when you hear it recorded? Have you said that?
I can't stand listening to myself or watching myself.
Yeah. So that's the next thing you need to get over, Brian. Look at that. This is therapy. This is fantastic.
I don't look. We turn these podcast episodes into videos. You know, a lot of people will be watching this on Instagram Reels or on TikTok.
I love watching your face on Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Okay, so the people who don't necessarily not do this because they hate their own voice,
right?
They may not do this because they don't feel like they're technically able to. They feel like, I've got to get into, Adobe Premiere and edit this or something. So, talk about that. Like what tools do you use, both for recording and for editing?
So I try to make this as complicated as possible. I download the TikTok app and then I do everything on TikTok. If you want to get into video at all, TikTok has made it as easy as possible to correct, to delete, to re-record instantly. Pretty much everything I do is just done on TikTok these days because it instantly downloads it. I can disseminate it through all the other platforms. Really super easy to do. I do use a gimbal. To answer another part of your question there, I use a gimbal, a Zhun, I think, or something, Zhun gimbal, which is fantastic. It allows me to not look like I'm either intoxicated or just really jittery and nervous when I'm shooting video.
That's probably good for your job if you're not
probably good for my job.
For somebody who wants to get started doing this.
Yeah.
What is advice that you have for them? How should they get started?
You should start. Your first video is going to be terrible. It's okay. You're going to be staring at your face and it's going to look terrible. You're going to say dumb stuff and it's going to sound awful. But it doesn't matter what it sounds like today. We want to talk about what it's going to look like 15 tries in because you're going to listen to it and you're going to watch it and you're going to keep fine tuning it. I did take some speech and communication classes once upon a time where you you realize that you're saying, for every sentence, right? And those kind of breaks and patterns, the different things you do vocally. And you just improve that, but you just got to start. Dear shop owner, put your face out there, talk to people, record some at home and send them to me. And I will say, here, try it like this. Maybe stand up next time, right? There's so many little things you can do, but you don't know till you try.
How would somebody get in touch with you?
You can find me on the Facebooks as the letter J, Allen, Allen, Hunter. That's one way. I think it's the same on TikTok. There might be some underscores in there. Might be some underscores on Instagram. But J. Allen Hunter is kind of the brand I go by out there, I guess you'd say.
Any other advice or anything that you would want our listeners to hear before we finish up today?
Just know that you are loved and we are here to help. Man, you can do it. I know you're busy and I know you're overwhelmed. But if you want to attract more technicians, if you want to attract more customers, if you want to change the types of customers, put your personality out there. Let people know who you are, and you will start drawing the correct people to you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Hey, to our listeners, thanks again for listening to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast on Aftermarket Radio Network. There are some other great shows on the network, and you can find them at aftermarketradionetwork.com or on your favorite podcast listening apps like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and many others. Tune in for another episode next week, and until then, go fill those bays.
You've been listening to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Kim and Brian Walker. Follow the podcast on your favorite listening app. Find their emails in the show notes and visit them at shopmarketingpros.com. Let Kim and Brian know what you want discussed, because they're all about advancing the aftermarket.